Liam, when you went back and looked at the film from the scrimmage Saturday, what were your kind of main takeaways?
It's one of those things. It's like similar to practice in a lot of ways where you walk off the field, you feel pretty good about some things, and then you watch the tape and you're like, man, there's so much to clean up, but that's why it's practice. So I was just excited to see the guys run around and make plays. Just I think every receiver but one caught a pass, and just a lot of guys did some nice things. And it was nice. We kept it pretty simple from a game plan standpoint and just calling plays that we've executed in practice and that they knew. And guys just ran around and made plays. It was fun to watch guys get excited on the sidelines. But, there's always things to clean up, and especially in some of the run game and things like that. It's just a lot of bodies moving around. But we did some nice things overall. I was happy with it.
Lee, you use the word operationally quite a bit, wanting to have the offense, for lack of a better term, running like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
How close were you to that? Or was it clean in that regard?
Yeah, with the first few drives with the older guys that were going, yes. I mean, we had a couple snap issues that might have pulled us back a little bit, but from an operation standpoint, the first drive was what I'm looking for. It was clean, it was sharp. We had a couple turnovers throughout the scrimmage that we got to eliminate that bad football. We cannot put the ball in the other team's hands, but those things will happen. It's how you respond, and I thought we responded well. But from the first few drives, I was excited about our operation, and we did some nice things, and just in and out of the huddle, fast, sharp, motions, shifts, all those different things. It was what I was looking for out of those guys, yeah.
What can you all build on from this one to the final scrimmage?
I'll probably open it up a little bit more with the install. I mean, I kept it pretty simple when it came to what we were doing and what I was calling. We also didn't have any real red zone work in some, certain situations. Plays I wouldn't really necessarily call in those situations, but probably a little more situational work, get a little red zone, get a couple things that way that we can actually work on and show tangible evidence of getting better from the last scrimmage to this one, and put them in a better position to be successful in those situations. I was just kind of calling some plays that we've run, weren't necessarily specific to every single situation that we had. It was more so just a collaboration of what we have put in so far, but and then just continue to take care of the football, both with some of the snaps and a couple of the interceptions, but not bad overall, though.
Mark seemed pretty happy with the quarterback play, it seemed like, on Saturday. Liam, is there just wondering how you about how those guys look, the timing, and keeping the tempo going and all that stuff?
Yeah, I thought those guys did a nice job. I mean, I thought they commanded the whole show pretty well. They ran the show. They did some nice things in terms of making a couple plays necessarily off schedule. I mean, those are the type of things that you can't really imitate in practice. Not that the quarterbacks were live, but you get a little bit more of a live rush and a live look at those things. And I thought a couple guys made some off-schedule plays. And then when the throws were in timing and rhythm, I thought they executed those at a high level. We did a nice job. I mean, I thought we threw and caught overall on the day pretty well. Had a couple explosives, did some nice things. I mean, I just thought they did a good job of just, I kind of keep saying this, running the show, run the operation, just being sharp, in and out of the huddle, getting the signals, good clean huddle, good break. Everybody knows what they're doing. It starts with the quarterback, and I thought they did a nice job on Saturday.
Liam, we talked to Wandale Saturday, and he mentioned Rashawn Lewis is a guy who made a play in the scrimmage and maybe impressed a little bit. We haven't really seen him play at all. Obviously, he's got great bloodlines, but what have you seen from him so far this spring?
Man, Rashawn's such a good kid, man. He does everything you ask him to do. And he has some physical attributes. He really does have some traits that you really enjoy as a football player in general. I mean, the kid is just a good football player. He's got an unbelievable vertical jump. He went up and climbed the ladder, made a really nice catch, had a couple good run after catches throughout the scrimmage. He's a little compact, strong kid, and he's explosive. So he's difficult to tackle in space. And he can really climb the ladder and go get the football. He's got good, strong hands. So been happy with his development.
We'll let Josh have a follow-up on this. So
Yeah.
we'll go back to Josh first, then Dick, then John.
Thanks, Evan. On the quarterbacks again, just is there anybody in particular that's I know you've got a lot to figure out at that position going into the fall, but is there, anyone you've noticed like a big leap from, or just any, something you've kind of picked up on faster than you thought they might?
I mean, I think, when you look at Joey and Bo as the older guys, and I thought Nick Scalzo really had a good scrimmage, did some nice things. I think he was like 8 for 8 or 8 for 9 or something like that. If I forget, but they all did some nice things. It's more so just, now taking the next step from, we have, I'd say, like 3/4 of the offense in, but we haven't truly put them in the situations of like, all right, it's 3rd and 10, games on the line, we got to make a throw. It's been very controlled, and even a scrimmage when they're not getting hit is very controlled. It's a lot different when you got to stand down the barrel and throw that thing on 3rd and 10 versus tight man coverage, and you're getting hit right in the face. So it's really tough to just say, I think they've all gotten better. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess guys would probably know a little bit better than I would from where it was at. But I do know that we were in the higher completion percentage for a scrimmage, and that's what I was looking for as a unit. But overall, I mean, I think that, Joey and Bo continue to press with the 1s and 2s, and then Nick's doing a good job, and, got to get Pat Delahunty a couple more reps, but, it's been solid. It's been solid.
Look, you may have already answered this by talking about how clean things have looked, but is terminology no longer, I guess it'll always be an issue, but how would you rate where they are with the new terminology?
Yeah, it's just fine. I mean, they all know what we're doing. They all know what we're trying to get accomplished. And, I mean, I've kept it, somewhat simple for the formations, but it's a whole new offense. I mean, but we weren't out there with them during the scrimmage. Guys weren't, coaches weren't out there helping guys get lined up and correcting them if they were wrong. And we really didn't have a ton of MAs when it came to formation, alignment, assignment, things like that. I was pleased with the guys understanding where we were trying to go. I mean, it's almost easier in a scrimmage to play because I got a call sheet and it's pretty trimmed. I mean, every day when you install new plays, you're covering the plays that we just installed, but you're also trying to remember from day 1 install. When we get up to day 8, you're saying, all right, hey, we just put in 3 or 4 new pass plays on day 8, but I also got to remember day 1. So when you get to a scrimmage and you make a call sheet, I gave them the call sheet the night before so that they can study what exactly I'm going to call throughout the scrimmage. And we kept it fairly basic, but that was the goal. I mean, the goal wasn't to have them play slower. It was to have them play faster, and that's what we saw.
I'm curious, especially with your older guys, have you had to sell this offense at all, or have they bought in from the beginning? What's been the level of enthusiasm from these kids for this offense?
Yeah, I didn't have to sell anything. I mean, these guys knew that they needed to get better on offense, and I don't think it's not about me. It's not about the offense. I think they just knew they needed to get better as an offense. You can't throw for 110 yards in the last 2 seasons, and that's just not good enough. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what system you're running. So I think that they were just eager to get better and to get coached hard and to have some new concepts. And whether it was this offense or, spread or whatever it is, I think the kids were just eager to learn. And no, there hasn't have to be much of a sell there, I don't think at all. I mean, I think that there's proof in that it's worked at other places, and it's still football at the end of the day. These guys, I think they understand. They're as close as it gets to the National Football League, playing in the SEC at Kentucky. So I think that marriage and just how similar it is, I think that they saw how we could be successful if we implement this system the right way. So, no, it hasn't had to be any sell at all. They've been excited.
Yes, Coach, from what you described Sean Lewis earlier in this interview session, from what I know of Cleveland Thomas, it sounds very similar. Is this similar between the two, and is Cleveland showing in leadership?
Yeah, Clee's a kid that, just like all the guys, had a blank slate, right? Hadn't played a ton over the last few years and was just looking for an opportunity to get coached and maybe get some catches, and really throughout spring has done a nice job. He's done a really nice job stepping up and really playing in that third, fourth receiver position, and a ton of guys. You guys know you can't play with just one or two receivers. It's just not going to be it's not going to be feasible at all to do it through an 80 rep game. So we have to have players to be able to step up and make plays, and Cleveland's been one of those guys. I've been really pleased with his development. He's a smart kid. He's a smart football player. He likes to be coached. He takes coaching really well, and he's the type of kid that you want to try to help. You want to try to get him on the field and find a role and find a niche. From a leadership standpoint, I think it's really hard, unless you're a guy that's really played here so far, to be a true leader right now. I mean, all these kids are good kids and being leader qualities, but I think if you haven't really played and made a ton of plays here so far, it's hard to be a true vocal leader because they're still learning the system and trying to pick this thing up. So from a leadership standpoint, I would say he's just a good kid, and that's all I'm really looking for from him in terms of just be a good kid, do your job, and make some plays.
Hey Liam, the hash marks in college, how big of a difference does that make formationally, how you do stuff? Is it easier, harder, and has it been even more of a learning curve for you, kind of going against the defense?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. We took a couple days when I first kind of arrived and got here to just set all of our splits. I mean, almost 3x1, 2x2, all these different formation adjustments that we have, we had to then copy them over and adjust it to the college field, which wasn't easy. I mean, it's not easy to just, plug and play because of how different the NFL field is. But I do feel as though the college field presents some more challenges for the defense, because really in the NFL, the ball is always in the middle of the field. If you look at the two hashes, the ball's always in the middle of the field. So it's easier to almost call a game. You can almost live in right formations the entire game as a play caller in the NFL. But in the college game, formation into the boundary, speed into the boundary, different ways to create matchups. And so many defenses in the college game are based on field and boundary. So you can really try to manipulate the way that teams are playing their coverages and their fronts. That's a really good question. That's something I actually I ended up calling Joe Brady and talking to him a little bit about how he took the splits from New Orleans to LSU and he helped me out with some of that stuff. That was great.
I'm just wondering, given that these guys haven't been pass protecting a great deal the last year or two, how do you feel about their progress there and what you've seen this spring from the guys up front and the backs even?
Yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. That's a really good question. I mean, we got the backs and the O-line really have to be tied in. It's almost like our halfback needs to be really involved with the protections, but I also want him to get out. So it's been a little bit of a fine line so far this spring about I'm really trying to get these guys out in their routes and get out of their protection if nobody comes, get out in the routes to get part of the concepts. But, we also have to blitz pick up first. So that's been a little bit of an adjustment. It's just something that we have a couple new protection schemes in and really tying in the backs with the routes. And so a couple of those things have been a work in progress, but that's a good question. I mean, we got to continue to blitz pick up. I mean, if you're a back, the best thing you can do is be a 3-down back. We can't take you off the field on third down, hopefully not have to, but if we do, that's something we'll have to do. But usually we try to find a running back that's really a niche on third downs that can blitz pick up and also do a nice job in the route, concepts. But right now, those guys are all learning these concepts and schemes and the protection, so we're getting better.
Hey, Coach, when the Bengals were training up in Georgetown, a lot of us got a chance to go up and watch them and watch NFL practices. A little bit different, of course. And I'm wondering what it's like for you now as a coordinator working with kids. I mean, you were working with grown men, obviously, but you're doing more teaching than just flat-out reps. What's that change been like for you?
It's been refreshing, actually, in a little bit. You know, I mean, there's you almost have to step back and truly coach the fundamentals and technique of a stance, stance and start, how to run a route. I mean, we get these guys. Robert Woods knows how to run a hitch. You know, I mean, that's just the reality. You're really coaching now the details of the next level of running a hitch route, or the timing and anticipation. We really had to get kind of to square one and break this thing down a little bit to truly coach fundamentals and techniques. And ultimately, that's what the game's all about is if we put them in a good position to be successful with some of the play calls, if they're sharp with their fundamentals, techniques, assignment, alignment, we'll have a better chance. But it's been actually refreshing, kind of going back to basics a little bit. And you're not just coaching plays like you mentioned. You're not just dialing it up and it's all going to look clean and you might either be successful or not. There's a ton more that goes in. There's just so much more to coach off of, if that makes sense. Like when we watch the film and we watch it as a unit, there's just so much coaching that goes on. It's actually been pretty refreshing.
Have you had to slow yourself down at all, remind yourself that these are 18, 19-year-olds?
Yeah, a few times, for sure. Definitely. You know, absolutely. It's just the reality. I mean, coming from where I was at, it was just there's certain things you don't have to coach. There's certain things you do. And you find yourself like you really have to coach everything. You know, but the one thing I continue to go back and say, this program has done an unbelievable job practicing. I mean, coaching effort, you don't have to do it. There's guys staying off the ground. They're not running into the quarterback's lap. They're not trying to bull rush each other. They're not trying to tackle each other. Coach Stoops has done such a nice job. I mean, those are things where at places I've been in the past, you're coaching every play. Stay off the ground. Stay up. Don't take guys to the ground. No cheap shots. That doesn't exist here. These guys know how to practice, and that's been really helpful coming from the similar situation. This is a lot more like that, coaching in the NFL from that standpoint. So that's been such a refreshing situation for me to walk into for sure. But you got to coach everything, every fundamental and technique. I think you're muted there, Lonnie.
Yeah, you're muted, Lonnie. You mentioned in the earlier session about you use a phrase, please stay similar to go fast, go slow. Go fast, go slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to break it down a little more because coming from another player,
yeah.
I didn't get the same definition. And I didn't call the player's name, but
yeah. Yeah, when we talk more so about the run game, specifically the wide zone, we're really talking to the halfback, and we talk about slow to, fast through. Slow to the hole, fast through the hole is really what we're trying to do. So slow to your aiming point and your launch point, your landmark, and we want to burst through with one cut. And then we also talk about it with receivers. Burst, glide, burst. So we want to burst off the ball, get into a glide phase, depending on where the defender is, and then you might have to burst through to finish to get at the top of the route to be able to break down. But we talk about different tempos of running routes, and with running with the football is slow to, fast through, and burst, glide, burst. Those are the couple of things that we talk about in terms of the techniques and fundamentals of running routes or running the football in the run game.
That's what you meant in the first place when we first talked to you, but I got a little different.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's all good.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Coach. All right. Good. Thank you.